I need to warn you, this is a heavy story. And before I begin, I want to make one thing crystal clear. I am entirely at fault. My ex, the man I'm about to tell you about, owes me nothing. I am the sole reason we are no longer together. And my heart is overflowing with a regret so deep, I feel like I'm drowning in it. Our story began when I was just 14. We were kids, tangled up in that naive, intense way only teenagers can be. We shared a physical connection at 17, but life pulled us in different directions. Then this past February, the universe brought him back to me. By April, he asked for exclusivity, and I eagerly said yes. A month later, I wanted more. I wanted us to be official, to put a label on the love I felt was blooming again. But he hesitated. He was scared I would leave him. That fear, it turned out, was a chilling premonition. A short while later, I ran into a high school crush at the gym, a ghost from the past. He asked for my number, and in a moment of weakness I can't explain, I gave it to him. We met up, and on the third day, my world tilted on its axis. I slept with him. Even now, I'm digging through the wreckage of my own mind, trying to understand why. Why did I betray my own self-worth? Why did I shatter his feelings without a second thought? The regret is a physical ache. It was a horrifying realization. I had no morals, no values. I was a cheater, and no one deserves that. The next morning, the guilt was unbearable. I told my ex everything, admitting that I had destroyed any right to be with him. His reaction was something out of a nightmare. He drove to my house, his eyes filled with the pain I had put there. He questioned me, his voice breaking, and then he tried to end his life. Multiple times, right there in front of me. In the chaotic struggle for the knife, my hand was cut. The sight of my own blood seemed to snap him out of it, just for a moment. He took me to his place, bandaged my wound, and through his tears, he agreed to give me another chance. I knew I didn't deserve it. I stayed only because the thought of him dying was a burden I couldn't bear, far heavier than the thought of him leaving me. A few days later, the consequences of my actions came knocking. A visit to the clinic confirmed I had contracted chlamydia. When I told him, the fragile peace we had built shattered once more. He had been intimate with me just days after my betrayal, and now his health was at risk because of me. I rushed to his side, terrified he would spiral again. But this time, there was no desperation in his eyes, only cold fury. He told me if I didn't leave, he'd call the police. Heartbroken and broke, I started walking home, the miles stretching before me like a penance. He must have had a change of heart, because he called, found out I was walking, and picked me up. But this wasn't a rescue. He drove us onto the highway, his knuckles white on the steering wheel, and told me to get out. He was going to wreck the car, to end it all. I refused. I cried, I begged, I told him if he was going, we would go together. Somehow, my words got through. He drove us home. He told me we needed to move on from this, together. So I stopped apologizing, trying to believe we could be okay. We spent the next month and a half living in a fragile fantasy. But another, more devastating secret was growing inside me. On the first day of a cruise I took, I realized my period was late. A test confirmed my deepest fear. I was pregnant. I was on a ship, floating in the middle of the ocean, and my world was sinking. I told my best friend, locking myself in my cabin, utterly devastated. My actions had led to this, a life conceived from a moment of betrayal. Since I was on my way to Mexico, where I could access the pill, I made a choice. I ended the pregnancy. I was too ashamed to tell him, too selfishly desperate not to lose him. I didn't realize he had been logged into my iCloud. He saw everything. When I got back, his birthday was just 2 days away. I couldn't see him because I'd caught COVID on the cruise. But we talked like everything was normal. We said I love you. I miss you. I gave him his presents, and he gave me a heart he had spent 8 weeks carving from a piece of wood. Just for me. Everything felt so real, so normal. A week or two later, he took me on a perfect date. We had steak, we went back to his place and cuddled. He whispered that he wanted us to be one soul. That night, I fell asleep believing in us. The next morning, as he left for work, he kissed me, called me beautiful, and we exchanged I love yous. But just hours later, a text came through. I have a question, he wrote. Are you talking to someone else? I said no, which was true. Are you hiding anything? Again, I said no. And then the final blow. I'm over it. I know you were pregnant. I asked if he was done with me. His answer was a simple, soul-crushing yes. From that moment, he was a ghost. He only communicated to arrange for me to get my things. The first time I went, the silence was deafening. As I was leaving, he whispered, "I love you." I just stared, confused. "So we don't say that anymore?" he asked. My reply was bitter. "What's the point when you're leaving me?" I regret those words more than anything. I wish I had told him how much I loved him, how sorry I was. Then began my descent into madness. He blocked my number after a final cold exchange. I couldn't process it. The day before, he wanted to marry me. Now he was gone. I panicked. I blew up his phone from different numbers, made fake Instagram accounts, anything to get a real answer. Was it truly over? Drunk and desperate, I showed up at his house late one night. His roommate recorded it. He unblocked me just to tell me how weird and pathetic I was being. My frantic attempts continued until he finally texted me for the last time. It was a torrent of pure hatred. He told me he was filing a harassment charge. He said he had a new girlfriend, that he'd moved on the day he left me. He told me he hated me more than he hated his own mother, a woman who had murdered his father. Each word was a dagger. He said, "Spend your birthday with the baby that other man gave you." He finally agreed to talk on the phone, and it was just to reiterate how much he despised me, how he never wanted to see me again. He left me on read after a final apology I sent, and I haven't contacted him since. The silence is his final answer. Now I'm left alone with the echoes of his love and the deafening roar of his hate. My birthday is in 2 days, and the only gift I can expect is the haunting knowledge that I caused this much pain to the person I love. I'm in therapy, I'm trying to find solace, but every waking moment is a battle against memories. I see his car everywhere. I think about the way he eats, the sound of his laugh. I know I can never go back. I just don't know how to move forward from the biggest mistake of my life, knowing that he hates me, and that I truly, completely deserve it.